Hello, my name is Jennifer Kent, and this is my performance-based project for EDU Models of Teaching. I will be using the Madeline Hunter's IT-IP model for my lesson today. The lesson will take 1 day of instruction time. For Madeline Hunter's IT-IP model, I will include the anticipatory set, objectives, input, check for understanding, guided practice, closure, and independent practice in my lesson today. I will be using the following strategies in my lesson: identifying similarities and differences, reinforcing effort and providing recognition, homework and practice, non-linguistic representations, cooperative learning, and teaching specific types of knowledge, vocabulary terms, and phrases. For my anticipatory set, I will have this slide on the board as the students come into class. Upon entering, they will receive a welcome message, and I will ask the question: what type of geometric figure do you think we will be talking about today? I will also have the quadrilateral song playing for the first 5 minutes while the students are entering and getting ready to begin class. Next is objectives. Today we are going to be talking about different types of quadrilaterals. We will be looking at the sides and the angles of each figure to help us classify the different types. By the end of class, all students should be able to identify and classify the quadrilateral based on the sides and the angles. When stating the objectives, I will be sure to explain to students that there is more than one name that we can use to describe some quadrilaterals. Because there is more than one name, we are going to use the most specific name for a quadrilateral, because that specific name will give us the most information about that figure. For my input, I will be showing the Quadrilaterals Math Mansions video. This video is 9 minutes long, so I will be cutting it short and only showing about the first 5 minutes in class. I will be posting the video in Schoology for students to watch the entire video if they'd like on their own. Next, we have direct vocabulary instruction. Using this quadrilateral flowchart, I will introduce the new vocabulary words. I will start with the definition of the parallelogram, which is at the top of the flowchart. I will then work my way down, presenting the following vocabulary terms: rectangle, rhombus, and square. I will then state the definition of the trapezoid. After presenting the vocabulary definitions, I will have the students take 1 or 2 minutes to read over the definitions on their own, and for them to be able to have the opportunity to examine the non-linguistic representations. Students will then be asked to think about the definitions in their own words so they can generate their own descriptions of the quadrilaterals. During the guided practice, I will use lower level and higher level questions. After the students have had a chance to read over the definitions and to think about how they would write the definitions using their own words, I will ask them to look at and think about how they are going to identify the similarities and differences between the different types of quadrilaterals. Students will then be divided into groups of 3 or 4 students in each group. While they're in groups, they will be working on completing the quadrilateral Venn diagram, which I have on the board. I will tell students the name of the shapes and have them draw it in the appropriate place in the diagram. To get them started, they will have a large circle labeled quadrilaterals. During the activity, I will be going into each group and be giving students praise and recognition for their effort and for their ability to classify quadrilaterals based on their similarities and differences. During this activity, I will ask students direct questions to help them place the quadrilaterals in the appropriate circle in the Venn diagram. After each group has completed, I will then take them out of groups. Once we are back in class, each group will be able to share their own Venn diagram, and I will also be checking for understanding. Here is an example of what a completed Venn diagram should look like when the students are finished with the activity. For the closure, I will put this slide on the board. On the slide is the flow chart for classifying and identifying quadrilaterals. I will remind them that they should spend some time each night to review the chart so that they will have the definitions of each quadrilateral memorized. I will ask students if they have any questions about the special types of quadrilaterals. They will be asked to restate the objectives for the day. Using polling question, I will ask them if they feel that they would be able to identify and classify quadrilaterals based on their sides and angles. Students will respond with a green check yes or red X no. Independent practice. The purpose of this assignment is for students to be able to state the definition of the special types of quadrilaterals and to be able to draw a non-linguistic representation of each figure on their own. Students will also be able to re-watch the video on quadrilaterals, and I will also provide them with 2 fun websites for them to practice how to identify and classify different types of quadrilaterals. This is the advanced organizer that students will use to complete their homework assignment. They will write the definition and draw an example of each figure. The 2 websites that the students will use for tonight are Quadrilateral Quest and Math is Fun Quadrilaterals. They will be able to play each game as many times as they'd like. During the entire lesson and when given feedback on the homework, I utilize reinforcing effort and providing recognition. I feel that it is extremely important to recognize when students are putting effort in and when they are engaged in a lesson. I also believe that by giving students recognition, this will inspire other students and will help them to be motivated to participate as well. When students answer incorrectly, I take the time to thank them for their effort, and I try to explain why they are not correct. I also take the time to help them guide them in finding the correct answer so that they will truly understand the concept. I use non-linguistic representations while I use teaching specific types of knowledge, vocabulary terms, and phrases. While I was teaching the definitions of the terms, I was also showing them figures of the shape. I use cooperative learning when students were placed in groups and asked to classify quadrilaterals based on their similarities and differences using a Venn diagram. The homework assignment used homework and practice, as it had them generate their own explanation or descriptions of the vocabulary. The websites had them practice the goal of the objective, which was to identify and classify quadrilaterals. Reflection on student learning. Throughout the lesson, the students were engaged by using emoticons, polling questions, and when completing the activity in groups. By using direct questions throughout the lesson, I could see that students were comprehending how to identify and classify the quadrilaterals based on their sides and the angles. During the guided practice, I saw that students were having difficulty understanding that squares were a special type of rectangle and rhombus. After groups, I took about 5 extra minutes to clarify the concept. The homework assignment that was submitted the next day with their definitions and their own examples of non-linguistic representation. I was able to see from their drawings that they were able to classify and identify the quadrilaterals based on their sides and angles. I received great feedback from the video and practice websites that were posted in Schoology. By the students' comments, I think that they really enjoyed playing the games and they were practicing the concept learned that day, which is a plus for me. Thank you for taking the time to watch my performance-based project using Madeline Hunter's IT model. Have a great day.